Hey there everyone, Power here, and welcome back. Today we're going to be talking about the Xbox One and Windows 10 E3 press conference. Well, I'm going to be talking about a key aspect, at least a key aspect as a PC gamer from this press conference. So if you didn't watch it. One of the big takeaways, and I think Jim Sterling coined this, it was the Windows 10 press conference. And it's a bit of a joke, but essentially every IP that they showed off, at least every first party IP that they showed off, was a Xbox One and Windows 10 exclusive. Essentially what we saw this year, and we've kind of seen it coming for a little bit now. You saw Quantum Break, Forza Motorsport 6 in the past, they did that version, where they're bringing a lot of these Xbox exclusives over to PC. But you only get them through the Windows 10 store, and they're running on something called UWP, and we'll come back to UWP later on. This is good and bad. There's going to be a lot of people out there that are going to be, you know what, I want it on Steam, give me just a straight up proper port on Steam, that's what I want. And you know what, that is a perfectly acceptable opinion on this. If you look at Gears of War 5, I think it's 5. Is it 4 or 5? I think it's 5. It might be 4. And you say, you know what, I don't want it from the Windows Store, that's fine. However, I think we have to be realistic. And the realistic answer is, some 18 years ago, Microsoft basically jumped off board PC with the first Xbox launch. Since then, any big IP that will run well on console, so something that isn't designed for PC from the ground up, like an RTS, and even then, obviously with Halo Wars, there's some examples of that. But anything that can be focused on console, they have focused it on the console. They've pushed it for the Xbox. So, what our options are here is, while ideally we would love to see really good proper ports of these games available through all third-party distribution sites, it's just not a realistic expectation. We can go ahead and we can sit there and we can hold our money. We can tell them, no, we're not buying these games in this platform. And what they're going to do is they're going to go back and they're going to say, you know what, there's just not enough money to be made on PC to justify this. When they go and give Valve some 35-ish% of the money generated from their sale, it really disincentivizes them from making these games. And that is a large part of what happened. If you look at EA and Origin, why did EA go through the effort to create Origin, all the big backlash, all the pushback from the PC community? Well, Valve takes anywhere from like 30 to 45% of every sale that they make on their Steam platform. It's different depending on the game, and you can negotiate. Apparently, you can negotiate with them a little bit, but it's somewhere around 40%. I'm saying 35% to be on the low end. Well, EA crunched the numbers, and they said, you know what? We can create our own platform. We can do our own distribution site. And for our smaller titles, say like Dead Space 3, we'll probably see a fairly large reduction, maybe upwards of 50% fewer sales of that game because it's not going to be on Steam. However, on our first party, our big titles, our Battlefield, Battlefront, Mass Effect, Dragon Age, on those titles there, we'll probably only see like a 15% reduction. So, when they take into account the amount of money they're going to save by not giving Valve that 35-ish% cut, subtract from that the sales that they're going to lose, they're going to come out ahead by doing their own distribution. This is what Microsoft is looking at. They're looking at how much money they would give up by giving Valve that, and they're looking and saying, you know what, there are games and they're running on our operating system. Windows is our operating system. Why are we going to give Valve 35-ish%? Why are we going to give any third-party developer 35-ish%? So they're going to sell the games through their own storefront. It's not ideal for us as the consumers, but it's also not the worst thing for us as consumers. More competition for Valve is a good thing. The way the current storefront is, the current Windows storefront is not a good competition. The way it is right now is not competition for Steam at all. Let's make that clear. But it can get there. Let's give them some time. It took Valve a long time to get Steam to where it is now, and it's still not perfect. It's far from it. It took Origin and competition and pushback from the community to get the refund process to where it is now within Valve. So anything new that Microsoft can bring with their storefront that brings competition, causes the industry to generate, causes that competition, is only going to incentivize us as the consumer, give us more options, and push things to be more competitive. That is good for us. Now, there is a whole nother problem here, though. Not just buying the game through the Windows Store. Microsoft is also trying to minimize the time and cost investment in creating these ports through something called UWP. If you don't know what that is, it's the Universal Windows Platform. It's essentially a low-level emulator. So unlike a full emulator, like say the Dolphin emulator for the GameCube, where it basically creates and makes your CPU or does processing through your CPU, RAM, and everything all the way up through to emulate the GameCube. Well, since the Xbox One is close enough to the same thing as a PC, it's running x86 architecture, it's on an AMD APU and all of that, it only needs to do it on the higher command level call and returns for the processing. So it's a much higher end, more efficient emulator. What this allows is Microsoft can bring these products over from the Xbox One with much greater ease. However, it's not foolproof. It's not fail-safe at this point. There can be mistakes. They still need to do things to optimize. They still need to implement options because not every computer, believe it or not, there's many computers out there that are less powerful than an Xbox One. So there needs to be resolution options, proper controller inputs. You need to be able to scale anti-aliasing and graphics and textures. All this does need to be put in. But rather than build the game from the ground up to run on Windows PC, it at least gives them a groundwork, a starting point with most of the game running on PC, and then they got to go in and they got to modify it out some. This again is not ideal. It's less than we want. We would love proper, built for PC ports of these games. And I keep going about this not ideal. And what it basically comes down to is there's three options. Well, technically there's two options that I see. So there's what we would love to happen. What we would love to happen is for Microsoft to say, you know what, let's support the PC platform properly. We're going to make these games from the ground up, a good PC version, and we'll sell them through third-party sales distribution centers. As I've stated now, I don't believe that's going to happen. In the future, it may, but I highly doubt it. What we see going on is far more companies moving away from using Valve and Steam and using their own. More and more companies are using their own launchers, their own storefronts, and all of this. I don't see that changing. So this first option just isn't going to happen. The second option is what we currently basically have had going on for the last 18 years, and that is none of the big Microsoft Xbox games on PC. There's not going to be Halo 2, Halo 3. All of those are going to be gone. The first Gears of War. None of them are going to be on PC. Blah. It's just the way it is. Some people, that's acceptable. The third option is what we're currently seeing them working towards. That is, allow them to sell their games through their storefront using this less than ideal UWP. Now, we need to be smart as consumers here. I'm not making this video to tell you to go out and buy all these games as soon as they roll out. No, we've already seen with games like Quantum Break that the UWP can create really bad versions of this game. And when reviews come out, they're really bad versions, don't buy them. Do not jump in. However, I'm here to say, don't just write them off for the sake of writing them off because it is UWP. Personally, I'm interested in Halo Wars 2. I enjoyed the one on the Xbox enough. I think that was Xbox 360, the first Halo Wars. I thought it was pretty good. It was definitely a little shallow as terms of RTSs go, but it was a fun little RTS. I would love to play it on PC. Gears of War is not so much my thing. I'm not too interested in that. Crackdown 3, though. I really liked Crackdown. I thought it was a fun game. If the PC version, even though it's going to be running UWP, is semi-good, if it's better than, it's not terribly broken, I'm okay with spending $40 on that. I do plan on giving Microsoft feedback. If I find out, this, and this is broken, I'm going to let them know about that. I'm going to hear about that. But I'm also going to show them that I'm willing to pay for these products. I'm willing to fork over money so I can pay for these products, play these products on PC over console. And I think that's okay. I don't know why there's so much of all or nothing mentality within the PC gaming, not even just within the world in general. There's so much all or nothing mentality. It doesn't have to be that way. Forza Horizon's a really good racing game. Forza's some really good racing games. Having them on PC, even if they're not the most ideal ports, is still better than not having them at all. And for someone that really likes racing games, I'm okay dealing with some minor problems through the UWP. Now, it's all relative. For example, the footage you've been watching in the background is Forza Motorsport 6 beta or something like that. It's a free-to-play version that is currently available on the Windows Store. And for the most part, it runs fairly well. There is one point where every 10 minutes, the game will just kind of freeze up for about 5 seconds and just completely stop. Not game-breaking, but annoying. There were also some other minor problems. I kept getting this pop-up message telling me my video memory was low. I don't know what that was about. My computer's pretty good. It's good enough to run that. It's a 770 GPU. Maybe it was low on video memory. I couldn't get my recording software to work correctly without going through some jumps, hoops, ladders, all this stuff. It was kind of a pain in the ass to get the recording software to work. But at the end of the day, it did work. Now, that doesn't mean I'm going to run out. I'm going to spend $60 on this game. But for $20, yeah, I would consider that. For the quality of the game, when I take into account the problems with the UWP, yeah, I would still buy that at the right price. That is all I am saying. We show them that there's support, but that the support, financial support that we're going to offer them is based on the quality of the product they give us. Don't write it off completely. Don't buy in completely. Fall somewhere in the middle and make smart purchases based on reviews from places that we can trust that are going to try these on the UWP. Yeah, I've said a whole lot of something about it. I think a whole lot of nothing there. Hopefully that makes sense, though. We're such a knee-jerk reaction type industry, and there's always pushback about everything. Even when a company is trying to extend us an olive branch and find a way of bringing their products that we've been asking for years, it's like, well, it's all or nothing. You got to give it to us perfect, or we're not going to play ball. We're just going to go in our corner and ignore you. And I don't want to be a part of that mentality. I want to enjoy these games that I can't play without owning an Xbox One. Yeah. Well, that's my thoughts on it. Hopefully that makes sense. If you have any comments, let me know what you think down below. Am I going too easy on Microsoft? Am I just blinded by consoles and should I burn my computer or something? Until next time, this has been Paller. Thanks for watching.